Hi, welcome to this session. Today we're going to be talking about planning for publication. And this is under the fourth section of the course called Next Steps. We've already covered so far the first section, which was introductory. The second section, those lectures dealt with preliminary considerations and information before you start writing. Then in the third section, those lectures involved techniques to help get you started. And then again, this section, as I just mentioned, discusses next steps. In this particular lecture, we're going to talk about planning for publication. Now, again, remember that the purpose of this particular course is just to help you get started, taking those first steps toward writing your book. But this section really covers a little bit of things that you can look forward to, think about, put some thought into planning and researching, etc. You will, at some point, once you finish writing your book, will need to make a decision about how you want to publish your book. Really, there are a number of ways that you can publish. There is the traditional means by which to publish, which is going to one of the big major established publishers. And you also have the option of publishing with an independent publisher, which is not one of the major publishers, but also a publisher, or to self-publish yourself. And that used to have a huge stigma, but it really, with the advent of Amazon and Amazon Kindle and the Kindle Select program and other options that are offered through other publishers that are print on demand, etc., that has really changed. And so really there are a lot of options for you, and you will need to figure out which one is right for you. Going with a traditional publisher will require you to submit manuscripts in most instances to literary agents who will then present them to a publisher. And so finding a literary agent in and of itself is a process. And so you'll need to educate yourself on what that entails and how do you submit to them before they then later submit to publishers. Let's spend a few moments talking about editing. Now, one very important point that I want to make with reference to editing is that you shouldn't worry about it when you are in the creative process. In other words, when you are in that writing zone, creating the content for your book, don't worry about stopping the flow of that by editing something. It may be that then you lose that flow, that creative flow that you're engaged in. Once your book is complete or mostly complete, you will edit it yourself 2 or 3 different times. You'll go through 2 or 3 different drafts of it, updating, editing, making corrections, adding content, whatever it is that you identify as a problem during those first several times that you read through the entire manuscript. Then at that point, once you're ready to have someone else look at it, you will need to decide how you want to go about doing that. Do you want to hire an editor? Is there someone you know that can help you to edit, who is maybe an English major or teaches English or is an avid reader and writer? And so anyway, it may be that you want them to go through a first pass after you've already looked at it and created your final draft. And when I say final, I mean final which is ready to be seen by someone else. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind with reference to editing is there are different types of editing. There are editors that just look for typos, and they're proofreaders. They're looking for typos and grammar usage. But then there are editors that will also review not just how you wrote, but the actual content of your writing to see if it makes sense, if it's logical, you know, how the reader might perceive it. So they do a more in-depth analysis of the manuscript that you gave them. Now, proofreaders charge in a variety of ways, some by project, some by number of pages, some by word. And it may be the word count that is the most common.